Hello, my name is Erin Bakovic, and I am the Activities Director for Fox Chapel Area High School. This presentation is going to be for any parents and students of members of the class of 2024 that were unable to join us for our in-person or our interactive presentation all about Fox Chapel. So please enjoy hearing a little bit about our school and all of the wonderful programs. Your orientation team today is me. I am the activities director, and I also teach science. I teach a ninth grade science course called Integrated Science, and I teach an upper level science course called Environmental Science. The purpose of today's presentation is to provide information about the academics, resources, practices, and procedures for Fox Chapel Area High School. It also provides you a snapshot of what to expect over the next 4 years. If you had joined us for the in-person presentation, after this presentation, we would have a tour with one of our staff members throughout the building. Obviously, that's not going to be included with this. However, there are maps of the high school that will be posted online with this particular presentation that may help navigate through the very large building. Let's begin with our academic program. We have a wonderful and Middle States accredited school counseling staff. Every student will keep the same school counselor for the entire 4 years you're with us at the high school. Counselors are assigned by the student's last name, so you can find your last name and see who your counselor will be. He or she will follow you throughout your high school career and help you not only as a high school student, but help you plan to beyond the high school experience. We have 2 other additional counselors. Dr. Stacy Janovic works as our transition coordinator within our educational support department. And we have Mr. David Frazier. He is our mental health and drug and alcohol liaison. He comes to us from the University of Pittsburgh in a cooperation program with them. This is a copy of the 4-year plan. Now, before you start to panic, all freshmen do meet with their school counselor to start thinking and planning for the 4-year experience. Of course, you're probably not worried about that right now, but I just wanted to share with it. There's copies of it on our website as well as in our course description guide, but we always want to be thinking about the current year and then moving forward. We have 27 credits to be able to graduate from the high school. You can see all the different credits of all the different classes. One class that's listed on there is College and Career Essentials. This is a class that is now required of all of to be taken during our junior year, and that really sets you up for thinking about post-high school and all the different options. Please do never hesitate to contact your school counselor at any point about your next steps and academics at any point. This is our daily schedule for this school year. Now, it is a little bit different than it has been. If you are a brand new parent to the Fox Chapel Area High School, you won't know anything different, but if you have some alumni, this is much different. You can see that our QRT, aka home base, our homeroom period, is now within our first period class. So our homeroom is really an extra 10 minutes where we will do daily announcements, attendance, the pledge, kind of those beginning of school day necessities. Then we have 4 classes, periods 1, 2, 3, and 4. Within our third period class, we will have 5 lunch periods. This is also a change from our schedule from last year. This is to accommodate the social distancing guidelines in our cafeteria and to ensure that each student gets a lunch period as well as to be able to eat it safely. During that period 3, students will go to class for 3 of those time periods. One of them will be a lunch, and the last half-hour section, or wherever that will fall in, we're going to call that QRT3. That time period is actually almost like a built-in study hall or study break within the day. Students will stay within their third period class, and they can work on some assignments, catch up on different things that have happened throughout the day, and kind of use that almost as a bit of a study hall. The support time we're going to explain here in a few minutes, in the next slide, so I won't go into too much time about that. You are required to be at school by the warning bell at 7:25, and at the end of the day when the 2:25 bell rings, you will actually go directly to your buses or catch the ride up front if you're being picked up by someone from home. Unlike DMS, you do not have to go back to your QRT or your first period to wait for the buses. A little secret in the Fox Chapel Area School District is the buses start at the high school, so we let the buses go at 2:25 and then they go on their runs to all the other schools. So at the end of the day, pack up and head on to the bus or off to your ride. Here's AM support time. So this always has kind of been there at the high school, but it never really had a formal name. This time period from 7 a.m. to 7:25 is really a time for students to go visit their teachers for extra help. It's a time to get some breakfast in the cafeteria or coffee from the coffee cart. It's time to head to the library to print if necessary, to get a book or do any research that's necessary in our library. Down the line will be time for maybe a club or activity meeting, though at the moment, all activities the pause button has really been hit for them until we get going with the school year. You need to be in your home first period / QRT by 7:30 a.m. There will be a bell at 7:25 to remind you. We have lots of academic opportunities beyond our core classes. That's just those numbers there next to each of those subjects are all the different classes and experiences you can take. We also have a relationship with Beatty, which is our local vo-tech school. When you're a junior or senior, you can have a split schedule where you come to the high school in the morning and then you would go to Beatty to learn a particular trade or a skill in the afternoon. We also have work and professional experiences, and we have lots of college and high school classes as well. We have a full enrichment department, also called Quest, and that office is located very near the cafeteria. These activities are available to all students, and they're offered in all kinds of areas. Typically, they do involve field experiences and leaving the building and apprenticeships. Unfortunately, that also is on pause for this school year, but there's a lot of virtual opportunities, math competitions, and all kinds of fun that any student can certainly sign up for. They have a Schoology course, and you can ask to join that course and find out about all that fun. All right, academics is over, so let's talk about supports and student life. I think one of the great things we have at our high school is a really extensive safety net. So what does that mean? Sometimes our students aren't doing the best that they could be, and they need a little extra help, a little extra hand. They need that net underneath the trapeze when everything in life is going on. And that's really what our high school safety nets are. We have a Back on Track program that will meet after school, Monday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. It is located in the library. There is transportation home that gets you nearish to your home at 3:45. Back on Track will begin on September 8th. We have a math help center, a writing center. Those both will be at the AM support time. You can go to those particular areas and get that support as needed. We have a more extensive instructional support program run by a dedicated teacher who can help with test taking skills and working with students that might be struggling in the classroom. There's also instructional support classes as well. We have extensive counseling programs and tutoring programs, including peer tutoring programs through our National Honor Society. If needed, we can schedule a parent-teacher conference. We call those staffings here at the high school. For time being, they will be virtual, and those can be scheduled through your school counselor if a student needs to bring all the teachers together to talk about an issue or talk about something that's going on. We also have the Foxesboro, which I'll talk about in a few minutes, and our student support team, which are more extensive safety nets. The Foxesboro opened 2 years ago near our TV studio under our preschool room. It's in a little nook of the building on purpose because this is a confidential area where students can get supplies that they might need. This is where our Backpacks for Hunger food bags are distributed. We also have toiletries and school supplies here for any student of need at any particular need. Every morning during that AM support time, it will be staffed by a counselor from the school counseling office. If a student needs something outside of that AM support time, they are more than welcome to head to the school counseling office and ask to speak to their counselor or any counselor to be able to access the Foxesboro. This is a wonderful program that was started by Mrs. Mackin, one of our school counselors, as well as the Community Outreach Club. They've done a lot of getting donations and getting funds to really help and keep this going. It's an absolutely wonderful resource for the students that need it. If a student's safety nets that we talked about before need a little bit extra help, the student might be involved in the student support team. This is part of the state mandated student assistance program, and the goal of the team is to help students work through any educational barriers. They could include maybe attendance issues, mental health, drugs and alcohol, peer pressure, having really troubles with academic issues. This program has parents part of it from the very beginning, and the student support coordinator would reach out and put an action plan and an action team together to allow us to really help and work with that student through those particular issues. So there are forms and paperwork with that we can certainly, if you're interested or want to hear more about that, you can certainly reach out to your school counselor. Teachers can also make referrals to that program as well as our administrators are part of it as well. PowerSchool, as you know, is essential. All parents should have a PowerSchool a login information. You parents make your own PowerSchool account and connect it to your students. You get your e-blasts and all your information via PowerSchool as well. It links through our school messenger system, which is our email e-blast system. If you're having troubles with that, you can certainly reach out to the Contact Us on the high school website or the community help desk. If you, as a parent, completed the returning school form, you should have all your PowerSchool up and running. I have heard recently, though, PowerSchool did go through a major upgrade over the summer months. If you're having trouble logging on, I have been told by other parents to either delete the app or log off and log back on so it can update the app, and then you'll have better access to it. There is a daily bulletin feature of PowerSchool, which I hope to start doing a little bit more this year to give some upcoming announcements that are going on. Schoology is going to be the big word for this school year. Schoology is a learning management system that's really going to be a truly online experience for all of our students, since we are going to be since most of our students are in the hybrid option. So all students should know how to log into Schoology and use it. You as a parent can also have a parent account as well. And all members of the class of 2024 will be in a Schoology group where I can post things as the activities director about different freshman activities and excitement that's going on. The class of 2024 does have a class sponsor. Her name is Dr. Cowles, and she will stay with that class for all 4 years and kind of lead them through the experience from, homecomings and prom, and even help with graduation. Speaking about activities, we have so many here at Fox Chapel Area High School. Last year we had 84 approved clubs. This is just a sampling of some of the ones we have. Of course, due to the pandemic, I honestly can't tell you at this moment in time how these are all going to pan out, but I know we'll be working hard to make sure that we still have a fun extracurricular experience for all of our students. But for the time being, we're going to concentrate on getting everything up and running and then add activities in a little bit later. Our club week this week is a little bit later. It's scheduled for September 14th. This will be a time where students can certainly sign up and join particular clubs. I do feel that a lot of clubs are going to be virtual this year with virtual meetings, probably concentrated on that Wednesday virtual day or even after school or during that AM support time. Much more details will be sent through those class Schoology groups to all of the students. And a full published approved club list will be on our website and to all the students with lead student contact information on how to get involved. One of the things that many of the seniors that graduate in their exit interviews or when I'm chatting with them at graduation tell me is that they wish they had gotten more involved early on and stuck with it. So picking a couple great clubs and activities that you really want to do and keep doing it every year seems to be what a lot of seniors, if they have a regret, that's it. We also have a student government, which is like our student council. It's modeled after the U.S. government, though I like to joke that we get a little bit more done. It is our largest club. We have senators from every municipality, and those elections were done at DMS in May online for the first time. We also have an executive branch. We have a president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer. And we typically have representatives at large as well. More information will come to the students again as we start the school year and really get things going. We will most likely hold our student government meetings virtually just due to the nature of this. Typically, a student government joint session would have over 100 students in attendance. All right, let's move on to people, protocols, and procedures. So, who do you need to know? Well, we have 3 wonderful principals that make up our administrative team. Dr. Howard is our lead principal, and then we have 2 program principals that do focus on and work with the students directly as per grade level, or per their last name, not by grade level. Dr. Lentz is our program principal for letters A through L, and Dr. McGee through M through Z. Our athletic director is Mr. O'Brien, and he takes care of all of our athletics as well as our 4 approved club sports. And that's me, the activities director. Feel free to always email me or send me a message if you have any questions. If you want to contact an individual teacher, the contact us on the website link at our district website has all the information. You just go to the district website page, select the school as high school, and you'll see the contact us to let the teachers know. School safety, something that we always want to think about. This year, our school safety has not really been taken over, but is taking the lead through our district safety coordinator, and that's Officer Joe Kazarian. We will have 2 school resource officers, Officer Josh and Officer Stan, in the building. And we also have a school security personnel that's been with us a few years, and that is Mr. Abbott. Their office is located off the cafeteria next to the restroom, so a fairly centrally located spot. We do have an emergency operations plan. We will continue to have monthly evacuation, aka fire drills. All of our faculty is certified and trained in ALICE, and we have regular ALICE lockdown and security drills. There are over 200 security cameras inside and outside the building. Our building is locked during the day. Entry is only made at our front door main office with an ID. Due this particular school year, most of our visitation will be suspended, and we will only allow essential visitation as needed. Do keep that in mind. I do believe a lot of meetings that typically parents will come into the building for will be going virtually. Safe to Say is a program that's run by the state of Pennsylvania through the Office of Attorney General. It rolled out about 2 years ago. It is a website, it is an app, and a confidential phone number where anyone can submit an anonymous tip through the system. It is pretty much to disseminate information of a crisis nature. So if a student is having a crisis or heard something and is reporting a potential crisis, it goes through to the Safe to Say to the state, and then it goes to our district police office, and then to our school administrator. Obviously, it is anonymous, and the crisis center may contact the tipster at any point. And also, if you, obviously, it's a great service to us, and it has truly helped all students. But don't forget that we do have a wonderful school counseling office that is willing to chat and talk with any student as well at any time. This year we have a new school nurse, Mrs. Jamie Golgowski. Her nursing suite is located near the main office in the front of the building. Please, if you have not already, as part of the returning student form is our emergency care card. It is now online. The most accurate information is needed because it does help if your student should become ill at school and you need to pick them up, or if they would like Advil during the day or Tums or anything, especially if during the day they would feel symptoms of COVID-19 or need to go to that particular office. So please make sure you've filled out that returning school form so all that information is to our school nurse. Speaking of COVID-19, there are a few changes that you will see building-wide, and please keep in mind that all of these protocols are really subject to change by the information that is coming from the state and federal levels. We sometimes get updates that change hourly. Lockers are assigned with social distancing in mind. So if you are an A to L, you might have lockers with the last names M to Z on either side of you. So on an A to L day, there will be some distance between the lockers. Your first period teacher will have a lot more locker information on that first day when you report into the building. Masks must be worn at all times in the building, except when eating lunch. There will be sanitizing stations when you come into the building as well. And of course, our restrooms are open for washing hands throughout the day, and we still encourage that process. All of our classroom desks have been arranged to meet CDC and Pennsylvania Department of Health guidelines. There is social distancing in place, and we are asking students to realize that your desk placement is going to be there, and there probably will not be much moving around or changing up of particular desks arrangements. Throughout the day, our water fountains will not be available due to the nature of being able to touch and sanitizing in that area. We are suggesting that you can bring a water bottle with a lid to school to be able to have access to that water if you would like throughout the day. We have an attendance coordinator, Mr. Sullenberger, whose job is to really track and keep all of the excuses together. If your student does not come to school, they must return an excuse within 3 days. Your excuses must be signed by a parent and they must be specific. You cannot, they must be specific to why the student was absent. Parents can excuse up to 10 days a year for sickness or religious holidays. Any other absences must be excused by a doctor. It is the student's responsibility to remember to check into first period and be in first period on time and not to get a tardy to school. State code requires schools to file truancy charges after the third unexcused absence. So it's very important that if you are not going to be in school, that you get that excuse back in, and you can then leave that excuse in the main office upon returning to school. Discipline. Our school handbook, which is online, has much more details about discipline. There are different levels, and excessive discipline referrals will increase that particular level. I kind of joke with Dr. McGee that he picked some big things here to talk about discipline. These are some very bad discipline things, and we hope that no freshman ever needs to know this. But fighting, for example, has a 3-day suspension and disorderly contact charges, and then possession or being under the influence of drugs and alcohol. Following our drug and alcohol policies, a 10-day suspension with charges filed as well. If you have any questions about discipline, you are more than welcome to read that section of the student parent handbook, which will be available online within the first couple days of school starting. Our dress code is also outlined in the handbook. Just a reminder that we don't wear hats or hoodies or visors, but we do wear masks, and clothing must be completely covered with all students. Electronic devices. Students obviously are permitted and very much need to bring their laptops to school or their device to school every day. You are responsible for your own security of your own devices. I know that many students will bring in their personal laptops and Chromebooks to school. Please make sure that you keep that with you at all times. You bring your charger and you do keep them locked in your locker if you don't need it. Personal devices, especially a cell phone, may not be used during class unless a teacher instructs you to do so. So what does this mean? It means that you should check with all your teachers in the first couple days to see what their policies are. We all have cell phones. I know you do. I do too. But there's a time when you should use it and there's a time when you shouldn't. And I think that's the biggest issue. If you're not paying attention to class and you're scrolling through Instagram or making funny Snapchats, that's not paying attention to class and that's not using your phone for evil. But if you're using your phone as a calculator or you're taking a picture of a lab and sending it to a friend who's in the virtual program so they could see the lab that you're doing, that's using your phone for good. So just make sure that you double check with all of the teachers to hear what he or she's plan is for cellular phones. AM drop-off and pickup, since many students will be being dropped off to school, we ask that all parents and guardians drop off their students in the front of the building in the main office off of Field Club. Do not come in the back. The back is for buses and student parking only. And trust me, I've seen the student drivers. Best if you stay up front. Please pull forward. We recommend that you come before 7:15 a.m. Remember that 7:25 is that bell where you need to be in the building. You can come as early as 7 if you need support time, if not 7:25. The back of the PM pickup starts at 2:25, and we do ask you to pull forward as close as possible as the cars line up. I anticipate that the morning drop-off times are going to be pretty extensive in the beginning until everybody's kind of used to getting to school and finding a school on time. I do also feel that there'll be a lot more students being driven to school than there has in years past. So please bring a little patience. And if you're someone that's often run late, I jokingly always tell this to my seniors who tend to be tardy to school all the time. I always tell them to move their alarms 10, 15 minutes ahead of time to give them that extra time buffer. We will be having an open house program. It will be on Thursday, September 11th. It most likely will be virtual or have some virtual components. We will certainly send you more information at the time, but we just wanted to give you a bit of a save the date. That is on our school calendar, which is located on our website. All the dates right now there are, if there's any dates subject to change, we will certainly change them on our calendar, but you can go to our website and look at the right-hand side on the high school page, and that will give you the high school calendar. The district calendar is on the district page. Now, here are some sample class schedules of what it looks like in PowerSchool. If you notice at the top of the schedules, it will say S1, S2. S1 and S2 means semester 1, semester 2. Q1 means the first 9 weeks. We don't have any 9-week classes at the high school, but we do have semester classes. So you can see that first schedule on the left. This student has Spanish, then moves to Algebra 2, then to History, and then to Biology Accelerated. The middle schedule, you can see this particular student, but when it gets to 4th period, has classes that meet on different days. So, and this time they would have to make sure that they are going to those classes on those particular days. So on the very first day of school, if their last name began with an A to L, they would go to Math Lab on Mondays, and then to Nature of Science on Tuesdays. I will explain how the 2 and 3 day classes work here in a second. This last schedule here, you can see the same thing. They have a schedule where they go to gym during 3rd period and then have Biology Accelerated on Monday and Wednesday as well. Just a review of the hybrid schedule. Everyone had 3 options for classes this year. Most people have chosen the hybrid, which is reporting to school 2 days a week. So if your letter's A to L, it's Monday, Thursday. If your letter's M to Z, it is Tuesday, Friday. On Wednesdays, everything will be virtual. One of the biggest changes between the hybrid schedule and the closure that happened in March, April, and May of last year is that we will be having synchronous live lessons as part of the hybrid schedule. Students will follow the daily schedule and will log in and report live to their classes, either via a Zoom or a Google Meet or even within Schoology. So that's important to know, that if you are not in the building on the hybrid schedule, that you will be logging in during 1st period to your 1st period class. If you have chosen the option 2, which is all virtual, you will be logging into classes during scheduled times that follow our class schedules. So please make sure of that you read through that and understand that particular schedule. This is not like the spring where the classes were not live. Well, most of the classes were not held live. There will be some non-live or asynchronous activities as well as live synchronous activities that go on if you're not in the building. You can always talk to your teachers, and I'm sure the first few days, starting next week, will really explain this more. Last but not least, I hate ending on this because it causes me, I know personally, a little bit of thinking to really look through this, but I know many ninth graders do have 2-day and 3-day classes, especially health, PE, and biology, or the band or orchestra. So if your schedule says a Monday, Wednesday, or a Monday, Wednesday, Friday class, and your last name is A to L, you would physically be on class on Mondays, you will virtually be on that class on Tuesdays, and then on Wednesdays, you would have part of the class on Thursday, or on Wednesday, excuse me, our all virtual day. The opposite would happen on M to Z, so virtually on Mondays, physically on Tuesdays, all right, and then virtually on Wednesday. Tuesday, Thursday, the same below, and you can see how that falls out. I'm pretty sure that I will be posting this on a lot of Schoology groups and share. Many of our 2-day and 3-day teachers have this graphic to be able to explain how this will work as we move forward. This also would apply to all virtual students when they would log in to those particular days as well. Well, thank you everybody for listening to my presentation. At this time, we would break and give a tour of the building. As always, if you have any questions about Fox Chapel Area High School, do feel free to email me.